Hello, today is our topic thinking about thinking, metacognition in educational process. What is metacognition? Usually when we work and when we're learning something, we usually use different kinds of skills and abilities or knowledge in the process. We use usually cognitive abilities, we use psychomotorical abilities, we use theoretical knowledge, we use practical knowledge in order to implement one or another learning task or working task. So this is cognitive abilities, this is practical or theoretical knowledge and skills. So what about metacognitive abilities? So metacognitive abilities is something that goes beyond the cognitive abilities. It is thinking about thinking and thinking about the way we think and the way we feel. Usually metacognitive abilities consist from two parts. This is knowledge about cognition and regulation of cognition. Other way saying metacognitive ability is for regulation of the way we think and the way we act. Usually in the work or learning process, it expresses in the several phases. For instance, it appears in planning activities, it appears in monitoring activities, and it appears in evaluating activities. When we plan something, we do a lot of things in advance. We predestine some steps, how it's going to be implemented, some work or some learning task in the process. When we monitoring activity, we observing all the components of activities, trying to evaluate and measure how it's going on and can it be improved permanently in the process while it's going on. And finally, when we evaluating activities that have been already implemented, we are trying to measure them and to evaluate where they're successful and what can be improved in the future. So metacognitive ability is something that helps us to identify the main mistakes and main error in the process and to correct them spontaneously. So that's really very important metacognitive abilities in any work or learning situation. And indeed, metacognitive abilities is something important both for the teacher and for the learners. For both of them, they are very important. And especially it's important in nowadays educational didactics, where learners and group of learners or team of learners are very active and self-directed in their learning. For instance, in the problem-based learning, metacognition in the group appears at the following aspects of work. When they're planning their group work, when they are planning their discussions, when they are planning their monitoring strategies, when they are planning their information search, and when they are implementing information search, and finally when they are evaluating the results of discussion and information search. So that was about the group work. And objects for metacognition in the group work usually are like discussion culture, monitoring for avoiding of domination of group members in the discussions, monitoring for avoiding ignorance in the group work, also monitoring for ensuring of equal contribution in the group work, also promoting different kinds of mechanism, working mechanism and learning motivation mechanism in the group. Metacognition in the team appears at the following points, like when learners try to define the team roles and describe them. Also metacognition appears when they are trying to reflect how certain team roles are implemented and to give some feedback about their colleagues' work. They are trying to when they are trying to do self-evaluation and evaluation of teamwork itself. So the objects for metacognition in the teamwork appears when they are deciding the team roles in the work and their obligations, and when they are monitoring all the project and project results in the team-based learning. And of course, metacognition is something important for both for learners and for teachers. So what are the most important metacognitive questions for teachers should be taken into account in order to prepare properly for the learning process? What are the metacognitive questions, the most relevant for teachers? And the questions would be that: what is the most suitable way to plan educational tasks? What is the best method to educate particular topic and why? How to distribute workload among the students in the teamwork and in the group work? How to monitor students' work? How to facilitate students' work? How to collect students' feedback? How to evaluate student work efficiently? So that was kind of example of metacognitive questions for teachers. And what about students? What metacognitive question they could raise? So, how to plan educational tasks efficiently? How to prepare for education process efficiently? How to monitor speeches and how to evaluate speeches and discussion in the group work? How to monitor and improve work quality in the group work during the learning process? How to identify mistakes done and how to correct them in the learning process? And finally, how to evaluate learning results and how to make efficient reporting. So as you see, those questions are a little bit different from the task they must implement itself. Those questions mostly concerns the implementation quality of the task themselves. Those questions are giving them clues how to do one or other action much better and how to avoid mistakes or identify mistakes and correct them in the process. So metacognitive abilities and concerns is something thinking about activity, thinking about the way we think and thinking about the way we feel. And at the end of problem-based learning process, they usually are being given special reflection forms where they are doing self-reflection and reflection of work have been done. Also, they reflect on different aspects of group-based learning or team-based learning itself. Many aspects are reflected about they're giving their feedback about their colleagues' work. How did they feel in the process? What could be done better next time? So a lot of things. And all reflection questions also could be attributed to metacognitive questions that concerns metacognition of learners. About metacognition have been written quite a lot of work, but the most famous comes from the Flavel and Marzano. Those scientists are the most famous for metacognitive abilities and their research. And of course, nowadays educational and work process requires not only very good knowledge and cognitive abilities, but metacognitive skills and abilities as well. Metacognition helps better planning of learning process and working process, and it helps to identify and correct mistakes during educational and working process. Metacognitive abilities are essential for self-directed learners and independent learners. Therefore, it's important to educate them in the secondary schools and in universities.